You knew, and it was not obvious. And it was not like the movie scene where someone throws or chucks the hammer of Thor into the rock and proclaims liberty of the whole world. And the soundtrack is pumping. You knew in tiny, mortifying ways. The pause before replying, the stomach drop when their name appears on your phone. Part of you that kept rehearsing what to say and then swallowed it like an oyster on the betting game or something like that. The way your body has responded before your ego caught up. That is the conversation that changes everything. And it's not because someone is saying a perfect sentence all of a sudden or doing the right thing out of the blue. And not because they suddenly developed a full emotional operating system after not meeting your needs. Could be even for years. But because something inside of you stops negotiating with warping and contortion. There is a version of you who knew the truth early. That version noticed the weirdness, that tone shift, that feeling stupid bit, that emotional tab open, never closing down. The way you were expected to understand everything, forgive everything, absorb everything, and still arrive at the scene looking graceful, rested, glowing, a good person. There's a version of you who saw the pattern and still decorated it like a cake, like that wedding cake of your dreams. Put flowers all around it, the rose petals, lit a candle, and called it complex, called it there is still time, called it potential, called it maybe they're going through something at this time. Maybe they were. But at some point, this process became your prison, and you kept going, setting the table no one sits at, rehearsing the conversation no one wants to have. That is the very subtle, very slow progression of self betrayal. And it rarely begins with a dramatic collapse and the fanfares and like, this is it, this is this moment. It just begins with one small edit. You don't say what you mean because the timing is off. Then you don't say what you mean because they might react. Then you don't say what you mean because they are too sensitive. Then you don't say what you mean because the relationship has trained you to not accept your own clarity, to fear it. And suddenly your truth has been living in the hallway, wearing its raincoat, with a suitcase full of archives and papers, wondering if today is finally the day you'll open the door and let it come home. That is where the illusion breaks. The illusion was not always that they loved you, sometimes they did. The illusion was that love without truth would still protect you. The illusion that chemistry could replace character. The illusion that intensity meant destiny. The illusion that if you explained it better, softened it a bit more, with enough emotional diplomacy and spiritual customer service, the other person would finally meet you in the middle. But the middle kept moving. And you kept walking. And now your legs are tired. And this is the part nobody wants to say out loud. Sometimes the conversation that changes everything is not the one where you seek closure or you get closure. It is sometimes that conversation where when you realize that that closure was actually that final carrot at the end of the steak. Glossy, healthy, inviting, dangling in front of the part of you that still believes that being understood will make the pain more meaningful. But sometimes pain doesn't need a dramatic ending. Some pain needs a boundary, a breath, awareness. Some pain needs you to stop interviewing it for character development and just look at it and see it, and that would be enough without fiddling, going inside and scraping it off again and again by yourself. And May 2026 carries that tone. The month opens with the full moon in Scorpio. It is An intense full moon. It's quite confronting, but also revealing. It is not journal under the moonlight and drink blue blue tea energy. Scorpio doesn't care. It just brings the torch into the basement and says, "This is cozy, but look at the mold everywhere." It exposes the emotional undercurrent, the thing you felt, but you couldn't prove it, the strange imbalance, the hidden resentment, the secret dependency, the obsession dressed as loyalty, the anxiety dressed as intuition, the power dynamic that is dressed as passion, the self-abandonment dressed as devotion. And then Mercury enters Taurus. Now the conversation has to come into the body. The words have weight. It's not just like conceptual spiraling and beating around the bush. It's not another imaginary courtroom where you prosecute them, defend them, put them in jail, and then release them and have a coffee together again. Start again tomorrow. Mercury in Taurus is plain and simple. It's the cookie cutter that presses to the table. Words that land, plain words, embodied words with substance. What happened? What do I need? What am I no longer available for? What am I choosing? Because my nervous system is not a rental for other people's BS. And then Pluto stations retrograde in Aquarius. And here comes the identity confrontation. Who were you becoming in this dynamic? Not who did they hurt, not what did they do. Who were you becoming? Were you becoming smaller, sharper, more suspicious, more addicted to breadcrumbs and microsignals, more willing to abandon your center? Were you performing coolness while your body was burning inside? Were you calling it patience where in reality you were afraid to wear a linen shirt of peace? The pure white color of innocence. This is where the conversation turns from romance to reality. Because when romance is asking you if they like you, love you, what do they think of you, do they want me? While reality asks, what am I becoming while I wait to be chosen? Romance asks, is there any potential? While reality asks, what has been shown repeatedly? Romance asks, can there be something in this? And reality asks, what is this costing my light? And I mean that very literally. We do have a light body. That is your coherence. That is your clarity. The connection between your heart and your head. The inner signal between the perception and love. The part of you that knows. The part of you that catches the distortion before anything else happens. When you stay in the dynamics where you constantly have to edit yourself, your field gets very noisy. Your original blueprint gets covered in other people's projections, unfinished karmic loops, the emotional static, the doubt that creeps in when you keep overriding your perceptions and your body signals. And this is infiltration. Not always dramatic. It's really subtle. Playing on your best aspects of yourself. Sometimes it's receiving that text message and just knowing that the whole color of the field just doesn't feel right. But your mind and your logic will say, oh, this is safe. Sometimes it is a relationship where you get so good at explaining something in a different way to how you feel. You become brilliant at explaining something that drains you, but to no avail. And sometimes the doubt is that little phrase, Maybe it's me who's overreacting. The conversation that changes everything is the conversation where you stop negotiating against yourself. And that does not always mean leaving someone and burning the bridge. Sometimes it means telling the truth without begging for permission. Sometimes it is having courage to ask the question that you know will change the air in the room. Just be careful with the poisonous people with whom these conversations and these sort of actions are not safe. I highly encourage you to discern and listen to the heart and brain connection there. Let that be a highway you use. You don't have to pick one, you have to pick both at the same time. And sometimes it means that you just choose your own peace or the other person agrees that it matters. The new moon in Taurus on the 16th of May asks for that new standard. Not a new costume that you wear. And it's not a 3-day Vipassana course or whatever the band-aid is. Practical, repeatable way of doing things, of saying things, of being. What do I do when my body says no? What do I do when the conversation starts looping and I'm literally talking like a broken record and no one is listening? What do I do when I feel the urge to prove, to fix, to explain, to defend, to chase, to rescue, to soften, and to wait? Then Mercury enters its home sign in Gemini. The mind gets faster, sharper, looking for options. The messages can multiply. And the explanations appear. The counter arguments and all the jazz hands in the world trying to woo you in a particular direction. So watch out. There will be more conversations, more informations, more decisions, more noise. Then Mars enters Taurus and the body say, choose wisely. Not the philosophy or like the theory or ethereal quality to it all. The matter at hand. In action. So where does your energy go now? What do you stop feeding? What do you stop checking? What do you stop carrying around? What do you stop calling love? Because you question what it is. What is it? Venus enters Cancer on May 18th and the heart gets tender. Cat memes. But this tenderness has teeth. Cancer is not like, let's all become SpongeBob SquarePants energy, it's not like you are an emotional sponge all of a sudden. It is asking to protect your home within, your inner temple. So we have that connection now in action, in practice, between your heart and your mind. I won't even call it mind, it's more between your heart center and your pineal gland, where you access higher versions of yourself, better outcomes for yourself, better timelines, for the highest good of all. Cancer is that emotional shelter, that private room for VIPs only. And it is here to soothe us. This is the return to self. It's not the Instagram filter where you have a perfect furniture arrangement and the good lighting and the whole setup. It's the real return. It's quiet, it's messy, it's subtle, it's organic. You don't want the conversation to go perfectly. You don't want other people's confessions. You don't want the universe to send you a raven or a cat. Hades, you okay? What's up? Oh my God, here we go. To the mic. And you definitely don't want any TikToks confirming what you already know, which is the irony of why I am here. You return to the clean line on your own timeline, in your own sovereign exchange between the heart and the mind, between the heart and your pineal, between different energy centers in your body and your soul. Now you know that your body knows, your heart knows, and your peace is not a group project. That is the identity shift. You are no longer the person who waits for the distortion, the warping, the contortion to become unbearable before you start choosing yourself. And you're no longer the person who mistakes endurance for devotion. And you're no longer the person who calls the emotional malnutrition depth because the breadcrumbs came with sparkles on top and quite an intense soundtrack to it. The music, the violin. I don't know. You are no longer the person who betrays the inner knowing so that they can keep the outer arrangement. And the full moon in Sagittarius at the end of May brings a bigger meaning to all of this. What did this teach you about your path? What belief kept you there? What truth has been trying to knock on the door and say, hey, come on out, enjoy the fresh air for once. Liberate yourself. Where did you confuse belonging with connection? Where did you confuse familiarity with fate? By the end of this month, the conversation is not just with them. It is with your own self, your own blueprint. The part of you that is untouched by the warping. The part of you that remembers coherence. Part of you that knows that the truth doesn't have to be shouted out loud. It can be whispered and received. Part of you that wants peace. The part of you that wants devotion without the sacrifice. Love without self-erasure. Closeness without becoming a ghost in your own body. And here's the sharp bit. You don't need to hate the person to choose yourself. You don't need to be a villain either. You do not need the courtroom, the smear campaign. You don't need to create a documentary. You need clarity. You need choice. You need that conscious exchange between your heart and your mind. You need to protect that part of you that can feel, hear, and see the truth clearly. The conversation that changes everything may be spoken out loud. It could be a message. It may be a boundary. It may be a silence. But the real conversation is internal. The moment when you say, I saw it, I heard it, I felt it, named it, and I chose what is real. And I return to myself. Now, let's go through the 12 signs. Use your rising sign if you want to know it, and your sun sign if you don't. Aries, you will reveal the emotional cost of entanglement, the energetic depth, the privacy issue, the fear, the thing you call passion. You compromised in intimacy, shared resources, trust, psychological access, and the places where other people's things entered the sub-layer in your psyche. Now you see that intensity without safety becomes just a gorgeous cage, and you are the peacock with plucked feathers. Sorry. Also see where you confused being loved with being used. Now you choose clean, energetic contracts. You choose truth in intimacy, and you choose to stop giving people access to your depth when they do not see and honor that space, that peaceful space of yours. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Appreciate you being here. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I look forward to see you in the next video. Love you. Bye. Taurus. The conversation revealed the truth about relationship itself. The mirror got a mustache, and it became rude, and the breath. Ugh. The mask has slipped. The whole dynamic showed you where the harmony became self-erasure. You compromised in partnership, loyalty, agreement, patience, exhausting talent of staying pleasant, while your truth was put under the rug. Now you see who meets you in reality and who loves just the version of you that wants to keep the peace. You choose relationships that survive your honesty. Choose your body's nose. N-O. Dot. You choose the kind of love that does not require you to be a Cirque du Soleil performer, spinning around them. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Appreciate you being here. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I look forward to see you in the next video. Love you. Bye. Gemini. The conversation revealed what your body has been carrying. The routine, the mess, the organizing bit that you love so much. The tiny daily compromises became like a bad lighting setup. It just doesn't make you feel like you feel good and you look good and you can do your thing. You compromise in your health, your schedule, your service, your energy, and the everyday habits that make you so amazing and unique, that shape your self-respect. You now see that being useful now can become a socially accepted way to disappear. Now you choose the life that doesn't let your body feed other people's expectations. You chose rhythms that protect your clarity. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Appreciate you being here. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I look forward to see you in the next video. Love you. Bye. Cancer. The conversation revealed where joy became a theatrical performance piece, where romance became a test, an exam, where creativity got tangled with validation. You compromised in love, pleasure, self-expression, children, creativity, dating, and the parts of your life where you're supposed to feel alive and vivid and bright. Now you see the difference between being adored and being consumed. You also see where you were auditioning for delight rather than letting it find you naturally. Now you choose joy without begging. You choose romance that doesn't punish your softness. You choose your life full of joy without handing it over to a board committee that judges you. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Appreciate you being here. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I look forward to see you in the next video. Love you. Bye. Leo, the conversation revealed something inside your home, your family, your emotional bandwidth, the family system. The room may look fine, but the walls have ears. You compromised in family roles, home safety, emotional safety, belonging, and the ancient duty to hold it all together for everybody else and pretend like you're not even tired. You now see where your loyalty became the costume of fear. You also see the difference between roots and chains. You choose inner clarity, inner safety. You choose a home life that doesn't need grand designs, sequel, renovation, uprooting for everyone to feel comfortable and happy. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Appreciate you being here. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I look forward to see you in the next video. Love you. Bye. Virgo. The conversation revealed the power of words. What was said? What was not said? What was implied underneath it all, subtly? What was repeated until it became a subtle psychological rash? You compromised in communications, short trips, siblings matters, daily conversations, messaging, and the mental loops that kept you awake at night. Now you see that over-explaining can easily morph into self-abandonment. You choose clean speech. Now you choose clean, direct words, direct questions. You choose to stop making a whole thesis worthy statement for those who can only perceive one paragraph at a time. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Appreciate you being here. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I look forward to see you in the next video. Love you. Bye. Libra, the conversation revealed the truth about your value, money, self-worth, desire, the places where you could have underpriced yourself, emotionally speaking, like a fake Prada bag or something. Still elegant, you know? But is it real? You compromised in resources, standards, stability, financial choices, your pleasure, and a quiet belief that being easy to love means that you have less needs. And now you see that low maintenance can become a trauma response in a pretty dress. Now you choose your worth without apology. You choose stability that doesn't require self-shrinking. You choose to stop discounting your spirit to remain selected. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Appreciate you being here. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I look forward to see you in the next video. Love you. Bye. Scorpio, the full moon in your sign revealed you, the real version, the one that your body has been trying to return to since November last year. You compromised in identity, self-recognition, personal direction, your appearance, your autonomy, and the places where other people's projections started dressing you in the outfits that are not you at all. Now you see where you have been playing a role in the room, the healer, the negotiator, the intense one with the truth bomb for everyone, the loyal one, the dangerous free spirit, the useful mystery. But what about your true vulnerabilities? What they seen? Now you choose your original signal. You choose your body. You choose to stop being judged by people who like to see the warped version of you. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Appreciate you being here. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I look forward to see you in the next video. Love you. Bye. Sagittarius, the conversation revealed the hidden thing, subconscious pattern, spiritual exhaustion, and that private grief, the invisible drain that squeaks behind the visible life. You compromised in solitude, rest, spirituality, closure, the mental peace, that back room of your psyche where your old ghosts are lingering and trying to have a chat. You now see where you have been protecting the very thing that has been haunting you. Now you choose release without the drama, without the performance and the aesthetic. You just breathe through it. Silence that heals instead of the silence that hides. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Appreciate you being here. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I look forward to see you in the next video. Love you. Bye. Capricorn, the conversation revealed the truth of your circles, friends, community, your audience, your networks around the mission and the people around the wound. You compromised in belonging, social dynamic, future plans, collaborations, places where you tolerated lukewarm energy because it was strategically useful. Now you see who claps when you are useful and who stays still when you're sovereign. You choose direction over belonging. You choose the aligned community. You choose the rooms where you do not have to wear a cape to disguise yourself in a superhero mode. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Appreciate you being here. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I look forward to see you in the next video. Love you. Bye. Aquarius, the conversation revealed the truth in your public life. Your career, your calling, your reputation, your visibility, mountain you're climbing, and the survivor kit you were handed. You compromised in ambition, public identity, authority, career choices, and the pressure to look composed while you're inner direction was getting lost. What is the deeper purpose here? Now you see where your success became performance piece and where your calling is asking for a cleaner path. Now you choose authority without distortion. You choose work that doesn't numb you spiritually. You choose the path that can hold your real voice. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Appreciate you being here. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I look forward to see you in the next video. Love you. Bye. Pisces, the conversation revealed your belief system, the worldview of yours, the future you thought you were walking towards, the map with someone else's handwriting on it. You compromised in travel, in faith, in your education, publishing, teaching, spiritual direction, and the need to make meaning out of something that was simply just draining you. Now you see where hope can be your leash. Now you choose your truth over fantasy. Full stop. You choose the path with oxygen. You choose the kind of faith that sharpens your senses instead of numbing them. Your instincts are not to be sedated anymore. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Appreciate you being here. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I look forward to see you in the next video. Love you. Bye.